Wayne Dyer used to talk a lot about this story called The Death of Ivan Ilyich. It was a short story written by Leo Tolstoy, and it revolves around this man called Ivan in Moscow. And Ivan was a very systematic person. He had built his entire life around society's definition of success. He hated his job. He got married and he even resented his wife. And Wayne Dyer talks about how this story kind of ends with Ivan on his deathbed. And Ivan's looking around and he sees his wife, this woman that he doesn't even particularly like, this woman whom he completely resents. And he turns to her and he says, "What if my whole life has been wrong?" That's spine-chilling. That is not the thought you want running through your mind when you're lying on your deathbed knowing that you're about to die. But here's the message from this story. That moment when Ivan was on his deathbed, that's the moment that we need to build our lives around. We need to build our lives around the question, how do I want to feel on my deathbed as I'm dying? What sort of life do I want to be able to look back on? What sort of life do I want to be able to lead and look back on so that when I am dying, I can look back on it and say, you know what? I lived as me. I did everything that I wanted to do. I made conscious decisions that I wanted to make. And now I'm leaving as a whole version of me, as a version of me who sang his or her song, whose music is out into the world, whose talents are out into the world, whose mission has been completed, who worked on their dreams and their purpose every single day. I lived as a version of me that I'm so proud of. I explored the complete and maximum potential and possibility that I could have possibly been. And now as I lie here, the life leaving my body, I know that I can leave with peace. That moment, that's the moment that we need to build our entire life around. That is the long game, as Gary Vee would put it, that we need to build our entire world around. That is the question we need to ask ourselves every single day when we wake up in the morning. If I continued the way that I am continuing right now, how would I feel on my deathbed? Am I consciously creating a life that I can look back on when I'm on my deathbed and I can say, yep, that's a life that I'm happy with? See, that's the long game, which is why we never talk about it. Which is why we get so distracted by short-term games, short-term battles, short-term pursuits. Hey, how much am I earning compared to my friends? Ooh, let me climb the corporate ladder because everyone else is. Let me go and get married because that's what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm meant to do to be successful. These are short-term games that we are so focused on winning that we forget about the long game. We forget about the only moment that actually truly matters in our life, our own death. Remember, Steve Jobs has this amazing thing that he used to say where he used to look into the mirror every single day and he'd ask himself, am I happy? Am I happy with what I'm doing? And if the answer to that was no for more than I think a month in a row or for many days in a row, he would change things up. We need to remember, number one, that we are mortal. This is going to come to an end. We are going to come to an end. There's no point denying that. There's no point running away from that. There's no point distracting ourselves from that. And if that is truly going to happen, which it is, once you embrace your mortality, you actually are forced to sit down and ask yourself, am I living in a way that will make my death feel like liberation, feel like sweetness? That is the long game that our society misses out on. So the next time you're about to make a decision because, I think my parents will be really proud if I do this. I'll just do it for a little bit. It should be fine. The next time you're about to prioritize the validation of other people over your own sense of self-validation, remember this. Remember Ivan Ilyich, and remember how you want to feel on your deathbed. It is never too late to change your life and to make choices that align with the sort of life that you want to look back on your deathbed as you are dying, because that is the moment that truly matters. So what sort of life do you want to look back on? I'll see you next week.